On tonight's edition of The Overtime, we're doing things a little different. It's the battle of the 928 here in Flagstaff as the Coconino Panthers and the Flagstaff Eagles face off for the region title. We'll break down some key players for both teams and then hype everyone up for this weekend's rivalry match. All that and more on this edition of The Overtime. Thank you for joining us and welcome to this edition of The Overtime. It's Rivalry Week here in Flagstaff, and my co-host Jasmine Navarrete and my sports reporters Mitchell McKenzie and Connor Trett are going to help me break down these crosstown rivals in this pregame edition of The Overtime. Jasmine and Mitchell, how are you guys doing tonight?
Well, Susie, I'm excited to talk football. The Coconino Panthers are undefeated with an overall record of 6-0, and the Flagstaff Eagles aren't far behind as they're 4-2 this season. So we have a lot to talk about. Mitchell, what about you?
Yeah, Susie. Yeah, Jasmine. I can't wait to break down some key players. Let's get started.
First, we're going to talk quarterbacks. The Flagstaff Eagles' Morgan BEWLEY and Panthers' Ryan SEERY. BEWLEY has been essential to the Eagles' success this season. Being the one in charge of where the ball is going has helped BEWLEY achieve a total of 1,059 passing yards in 6 games. He's averaging just over 176 yards per game. In the Eagles' face-off against Prescott, BEWLEY threw for a total of 299 yards in 1 game. Now let's hop across town. Jasmine, what's going on with Coco's QB?
Well, like you mentioned, Susie, the QB is the playmaker, and for Panthers' Ryan SEERY, it is no different. The senior's QB's game is a force. He has 475 passing yards this season and is averaging 96 yards per game. Most impressively, he's only thrown 1 interception this season. Comparing his numbers to BEWLEY, he does not throw the ball as often, but that does not take away from his skill to lead the Panthers to victory. Mitchell, what is unique about SEERY and BEWLEY's quarterback approach?
I just have to say what's good about both of these quarterbacks is solely based off their style. BEWLEY throws the ball a lot to his receivers, which was obviously seen last week, and yes, he has a strong running core behind him in Luis Jaramillo, but BEWLEY has a good arm. I think for SEERY, he relies a lot more on his running backs than his own passing. I'm not saying SEERY can't throw because he definitely can. I feel in this in-town rivalry, not a lot of passing will be happening, and there are a ton of other factors that will contribute to this game.
Staying with the offensive side of this team, Luis Armillo is the Eagles running back, and he has been a beast this season. He has 104 carries with 860 total rushing yards, and the craziest part about it all is he did most of this season with an injury. In the last game against Lee Williams, Armillo added 348 all-purpose yards to his stats. He was also responsible for 24 of the 35 points the Eagles scored. Jasmine, what's up with Coco?
Luis Jaramillo is a big name in the football game, but so is Panthers senior running back Zach Bennett. Bennett is fast. He recently became Coconino's all-time leading rusher with 102 rushing yards alone against Mingus last Friday. He has 151 carries this season with 925 total rushing yards. He will definitely perform with high numbers when he faces off against the Eagles tonight. Mitchell, big forces on both teams. Your thoughts on their game?
Well, you're right, ladies. Both running backs are just sensational. Jaramillo is a big name. When BEWLEY isn't throwing the ball, Jaramillo is running it. What is good about Bennett is that he's a big part of this offense. Yes, Bennett will break over that 1,000 rushing yards this season. I think the run game determines the victory, and whoever has the highest yards will win this game tonight.
Let's take a look at 2 other dominant offensive players for both teams. Wide receiver Ryan TAGLE has 433 receiving yards this season with 20 catches and is averaging 72.2 yards per game. And he is averaging just under 22 yards per catch. The 3 touchdowns he has scored for the Eagles have all been receiving touchdowns. Jasmine, how's Coco?
Well, a leading scorer for the Panthers is senior running back Manuel CARDOZA. He has 27 carries this season with 369 rushing yards. And being the scorer he is, CARDOZA has a total of 10 touchdowns so far this season. Offensively, he is dominant, but defensively, his numbers are astonishing. He has 32 solo tackles, contributing to his 58 total tackles. Mitchell, how is having a well-rounded player an asset on the field?
Well, you're right. Both are so crucial to their teams. TAGLE, who is mostly receiver for the Eagles, stands out with how many yards he can do per game. What stands out to me about Cardoza is how he can play both offense and defense. Yes, his tackle record is great, but also he is a running back. I think both of these guys have to perform at a high level tonight, and that will definitely be shown on the field.
I dropped by Flagstaff and Coconino earlier this week to discuss tonight's big showdown. Coaches are approaching this game as a regular matchup, but with a different ring to it, a region title win. For the players, it's a friendly competition among crosstown friends.
Luis Jaramillo, that's my brother since day one, and being able to go against my other friends is just fun, I guess, yeah.
Growing up in the same city, senior running back Manuel CARDOZA looks forward to Rivalry Week in Flagstaff. Being able to compete against his friends is the best opportunity to show off. For his friend Eagles senior running back Luis Jaramillo, it's a little bittersweet.
We know the kids, we know how they are, but that's also, that's why it's tough because, on the field, we have to turn that switch on, that we're not friends anymore. We have to play each other as hard as we can, and then off the field we can be friends again.
Everyone in town looks forward to this big showdown, the battle of who's the best in the 9-8. For Eagles head coach Todd Hanley, it would be great to defeat the Panthers, but that is not their end goal. Their goal is bigger than a hometown rival face-off.
That it is a big game for the city and it's a big game for the fans, but for our program, where we're headed is not aimed at beating Coconino. It's winning the region and going to the playoffs.
Both teams will be competing for region title. With talented rosters on both ends, this game will showcase what they have to offer going into this year's playoffs. For senior quarterback Ryan SEERY, the feeling of competing in a game like this is like no other.
The environment, the fans, just the energy that both sides bring, it's just great to be part of. It's just like they have talent, we have talent. It's just like the collision is just great, Then we get bragging rights, of course. That's the best part.
The Panthers were the talk of the town last year when they beat Flagstaff and clinched region title. Coconino has won the last two matchups, but Flagstaff High leads the all-time series 26-25. The Eagles want to be the best in the state, and to be the best, they have to acknowledge the best. The Eagles are well aware of the Panthers' skilled team.
Coconino, super talented team. They have good receivers, they have a good offensive line, and they're well coached. So we just have to play our best game. That's really what it boils down to, and that's what we try to do every week.
The feeling is mutual. The Flagstaff Eagles bounced back from a 2-game losing streak. They won big against Lee Williams last Friday, 35-17. Their momentum is high, and the Panthers are aware of the threat the Eagles can be on the gridiron.
Flag High is going to definitely come out strong. We know they got some momentum, so we're treating it like a regular game, and we know the excitement level will be there. So as long as we do our job, we're hoping to get a W on Friday.
Both teams have implemented game plans that they hope to execute tonight. The Eagles have a gap-control defense approach, whereas the Panthers are keeping the energy high. For senior running back Zach Bennett, beating Flagstaff has been the highlight of his high school career. For him, he'd like to end his senior year doing the same.
Every year we beat Flag High. It's always a great feeling. You get the bragging rights, town talks about you. And hopefully we'll be able to come up top this week. We put together a great game plan and just play our game.
The rivalry is real here in Flagstaff. These crosstown friends will face off tonight at 7 p.m. at Cromer Stadium. And only one team will be this year's region title champion. But most importantly, only one will be the talk of the town. There is no doubt that both teams are capable of winning region title. It all comes down to who wants it more.